Good morning, friends. Happy Wednesday. This is Mrs. Johnson with the story of the day. Today we are reading Howard B. Wigglebottom Learns to Listen. And we've been talking about the pet study. So rabbits or bunnies are great pets, and it's also kindness week. So we've been talking about ways to be kind, and listening to our teachers and our parents is a great way to be kind. So let's see what happens. Meet Howard B. Wigglebottom. Howard is always in trouble at school because, well, Howard just doesn't listen. And sometimes we have days where we're not such great listeners, and that's okay, but we need to learn from our mistakes and learn to be great listeners, right? During story time, instead of quietly listening, Howard bounces around the room, and his teacher says, "Howard B. Wigglebottom, please sit down, be quiet and listen." But Howard doesn't listen. Not a good choice. Is that a good choice or a think about it choice? I think it's a think about it choice. "Howard B. Wigglebottom, you are bouncing too close to the fan." But Howard doesn't listen. What do you think could happen if you get too close to a fan? What do you think? They go really fast and they're sharp, and you could get hurt. At lunchtime, his friends try to warn him, "Hey Howard, watch your step." What are they trying to warn him about? Look at the picture. If you said the banana peel, he might slip. You're right. But Howard doesn't listen, and he ends up slipping on the banana peel and spilling his whole lunch. That's what happens if you don't listen. That's not a good choice. After lunch, Howard's friends tries to tell him something important, but he just says blah, 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 blah. If someone was talking to you and they just said blah, 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 would that make you happy? How would that make you feel? That would make me sad that they're not paying attention to what I'm saying. That's not kind at all. But Howard doesn't listen. And look at her face. How do you think that makes her feel? She looks so sad. Poor alligator crocodile. "Keep your eye on the ball, Howard." On the playground, Howard's teammates try to help him. They say, "Pay attention and listen." Boink! But Howard doesn't listen. And what happened? The ball hit him right in the eye. Poor Howard. He has to learn to listen. In the art room, the teacher reminds the class, "Kids, try to keep the paint on your paper." But Howard doesn't listen. So the teacher asks him to take time out. He got it all over his friend. And he had to sit in the think about it area and think about his choice. Not a good choice. Look at poor Howard. How do you think he's feeling? He looks sad. He feels sad. Howard does not like being alone and in trouble. He thinks and thinks about his day. So he's sitting in the chair thinking about his choices. Howard makes up his mind. From that moment, he will try very hard to be the best listener he can be. And like I said, sometimes we're not going to make the best choices. Sometimes we're going to not be great listeners. And that's okay, but we need to learn and think about it just like Howard's thinking about it. He thought, I wasn't a good listener at lunch. I wasn't a good listener at story time. I wasn't being a good friend. And now I'm going to make the choice to do better, to be a better listener and to be a better friend and student. Let's see if he can do it. I think he can. The next day, Howard does listen during story time. Look how nice he's sitting. He waits for his turn to talk and then asks a question about the story. That's such a good listener. Look at him listening. Howard gets a big star because Howard is really being a good listener. And look at his star. While walking home, Howard uses both his eyes and ears to help stay safe. Howard is really listening. Please hang up your backpack and clean up your room now. That's his mom. When Howard gets home, he listens to his mother and does right what she says. That's such a good listener. Okay, Mom. Howard is a really good listener. He's turning his days around. Awesome ears, Howard. So Howard gets extra time to play and have fun because he's being such a good listener. Howard B. Wigglebottom is really listening. Time for a bedtime story. Brush your teeth. So he's brushing his teeth, being a great listener. Almost all of the time. So he was still up a little bit. He was supposed to be in bed, but that's okay. Friends, I hope you enjoyed that story. I know that all of you can be great listeners as well, just like Howard. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.